Do you want more? More time, more balance, more love, more sex, more money, more real, and less bullshit? This is the Women Wanting More podcast with Dr. Karen Osborne. Real life, real stories, plus real tips to get you more of what you want.
So I had a very tough morning with my children. More specifically with my oldest son, Tyson. And it struck me as I was listening to podcasts on the way back with Jane Fonda. I don't know how much you know about Jane Fonda, but actress, daughter of Henry Fonda. Amazing, incredible woman. And for 3 years, when she was against the Vietnam War and was over there in Vietnam and working with the active duty soldiers and all that went through, that there was a lot of people that were really upset with what she did. And what she decided to do, as opposed to hide from her critics, she was doing a film. This is kind of like years later. And I or maybe it was soon after, I'm not really quite sure. And she told one of the people in the film saying, hey, can you get together some of the Vietnam vets? And I want to meet with them. And they met in this church, like a church basement kind of thing, and talked and shared for hours and hours and hours. And many of them were quite angry and hostile towards her. And she said what she learned in that experience, not only was there a lot of healing that happened with those 40 or so vets that were there in her, but that how important it is to listen with an open heart. That your biggest critics or people that you don't agree with, that we must listen to each other. We must listen, and I'm going to add to this, hear each other. Because I think we can kind of we hear the words, but do we really hear? Do we deeply search for meaning in what they are telling us? Even in times when it doesn't seem so straight up. So like with my son Tyson this morning. So yesterday when I picked him up at school, and I've got 2 boys now at school, and so I'm juggling, holding backpacks and kids running off, and let's get back to the car, and got to get home to his sitter for one, and swimming lesson to the other one, and get dinner ready, and just, you know if you're a mother, there's a lot of shit that goes on, right? And picking up the kids at school, at least with my children, is often like herding cats. And I'm carrying stuff, and we got artwork, and somebody left their boots, and I'm juggling all this shit and holding on to my purse, and just okay, let's just get to the car. It's just one step at a time, right? And so Tyson gives me this little piece of paper that he's colored stuff on it. I don't know, it almost looks like an airplane propeller, just a flat piece of paper, right? And he goes, Mommy, I worked so hard on this. And I'm like, oh, buddy, it's awesome. Put it in his boot, and then we kind of went on the rest of the day. Got up today. I think what happened is he went to because it was a rainy day, so there's going to be a rainy day today, goes to put his feet into his rain boots, and he smushes it. Meanwhile, I don't know this is going on, and I'm getting my other son into the car. It's a crazy phenomenon. I tell you, crazy phenomenon. 10 minutes before we leave. Lots of ample time, lots of warnings about it, lots of help, totally perfectly great mood, everything's planned out, we're good. I got extra time just in case. It doesn't matter. There's always shit that goes to, I think I just need to stop being surprised about it, being guys, really? Now there's all these problems, we gotta walk out the door, or late does not work, and anyways. So as I'm getting Kai into the car, Tyson's standing at the front door with the door open, screaming at me. I don't really know what, but it's something that I've done wrong to him. And, my son Tyson, love him to bits. He can be incredibly explosive. I can too, so I get it, right? Those emotions that just come bam, and they're right there. And it's almost it just comes through you. I understand the feeling of that with anger or upset or sadness or pain. It's just it rushes through. It's for people like Tyson and I, it comes through so fast and furious. I remember being in practice, and it's kind of like women that would describe to me often, usually would be the second baby or, second onwards, that the labor would be this fast and furious, and then boom, out came baby. So it's the emotions are fast and furious, and boom, they just kind of come out. It takes such intention, willpower, presentness to not let that be an always thing. And so Tyson's screaming at me, and in my head I'm thinking, like, I don't even know what he's saying right now. I'm not that far from the front door to the car in our driveway, but he's screeching something, and something that I did wrong. So I'm thinking, one step at a time here, Mama. Let me just, get Kai in his car seat, put the bags are in the passenger seat in front of me, backpacks, jackets, but all this shit, kids for school. And then come back and see what's Tyson. And he's holding a piece of paper and he's like, you ruined this. You always ruin things. You just going off, right? And he's like, and so then I realized, I'm like, oh, I put that in his boot. And I didn't take anything out of it afterwards. God forbid we as mothers make one fucking mistake, right? And so what did I do? Exploded on Tyson in the car. Because he's still crying. He's still upset. He's still saying, how I did that stuff, and now I've wrecked it, and it's going to take him hours and all this kind of stuff. I'd say, at least for Tyson, I don't know of many kids. Other parents will tell me stuff, but, all I have is my kids as a reference of just, it's a thing for Tyson. Things are very dramatic, over the top. I think also a thing for kids that age, right? And it mattered to me, and it was important. But what did I do instead? I took that as a personal hit on how I mother him. So I yelled at him in the car. I said, I'm a great mom. And I won't tolerate, because it's tough, right? It's, it's that, motherhood, beautiful gift. Oh my God, what an experience to raise little souls. It's also the most fucking, brutal experience at times. It is. And it's a lot of my sons pointing me out, or Tyson, what I've done wrong. So I'm trying to explain to him. I go, Tyson, imagine if your teacher, you did 100 things right, but he only focused on the one thing that he did wrong, that you did wrong. How would that make you feel? Make me feel sad. But although you might take a look at it and say, you know what, it was important for me to say, you know what, buddy, Mommy tolerates a lot. She lets a lot of stuff roll off. I don't get, nearly as angry as I used to with my kids or really anything. And I often kind of seek to understand, what does this really mean? But I didn't in that moment today. And I went off on Tyson. And then we get to school and we, I kind of clean it up and he's kind of okay. And we kiss and hug and he's like, it's okay, Mommy. And I'm like, buddy, I'm so sorry, that was not okay. And he takes off to play, and then a minute later the bell goes, and then I got Kai going in one direction, Tyson's going in the other, and I'm trying to keep track where Tyson is, but I gotta keep track of Kai because he's 5, and we gotta go wait in the kindergarten line, and then suddenly I don't see Tyson. So I'm like, okay, well, I gotta be with Kai in his line, because you have to wait there until they bring the kids in. So we get him all set up, he's in his line, give him a kiss and hug, love you, buddy, have a great day, see you pick up. So I think, well, he's gone up to his classroom. He's not there. I'm like, shit. Is he now upset that he's taken off? I don't know. So I'm wandering around the school. Suddenly, then I see him, and I'm like, dude, where were you? He's like, Mommy, I was looking for you. But because I'm still kind of in that state, I get mad at him. I'm like, Tyson, your bag's in your classroom. Now Mommy has to go home because we don't have your jacket now, and I have to go home, and I'm gonna come back and bring you your jacket now. It's about maybe a 12-minute drive to get home. And then I'm listening to this podcast, which is just listen. And I'm like, I didn't listen to him. That little piece of paper, which I might go, that's not a big deal, mattered to him. It mattered to him. And although I'm not doing the beating myself up about it, I still just kind of go God, lesson in this, right? Listen. Don't put my story onto shit. But really listen. What was he telling me? He was telling me that, Mommy, I'm upset because this really mattered to me. And I worked on it for a while. And the way that he probably saw it is you just shoved it in my boot, thought it was not special. And then he put his foot in and he wrecked it. And I didn't listen to him. And what I hear from you in this experience is there's never not enough time. There's never, there's always time to be able to just take a moment. Who gives a fuck if the kids are late for school? I don't give a shit. Who cares? It wouldn't have killed us to show him a plate for me to really listen and appease him. And yes, it can be very frustrating because I can be in a place of calm, which I am most of the time these days with my kids. And yet still it's just like, no, can't help that. He's just going to have to go through what he goes through. He's going to see me as the enemy. One day he's going to realize that I'm not, but right now, and in certain moments, yeah. You did this to me, mommy, right? How easy it is for us to react versus saying, wait a second, what is this person really saying? Let me listen. From the standpoint of a 7.5-year-old little boy, and let me try to understand versus putting my shit onto it. So here's your more tip for today. Because I'm now at the school. You can hear kids in the gymnasium running around having fun here in the background. So I'm going to walk up to this classroom and give Tyson his jacket. So here we go. More tip for today. Who do you need to listen to right now? Who do you need to listen to? I know there's somebody that comes to mind for you right away. Who is that? And the next communication you have with them, or call them up or talk to them in person, whoever that might be, just really listen. Don't react. Don't explain. Don't criticize. Just sit there and listen. Listen. So that is it, sister. It's a bit of a raw one for today, but I speak into the podcast when I feel things need to be shared. And so I'm going to trust that this is coming out of me for a reason and me sharing this for a reason with you today. So one more thing, if you do not already subscribe to the Women Wanting More newsletter, go do that now, drkarenosborne.com/action guide. So I will talk the next episode, sister. A life of more is one step away from you listening to everybody around you. Every single day. I love and appreciate you.
To get the show notes of each Women Wanting More episode, including the How to Get More tip, subscribe to the newsletter at drkarenosborne.com/newsletter.